Welcome back to Obas Trending Gist. Today we are diving into a highly charged incident that has Nigerians talking. The recent altercation between the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and the military personnel over a land dispute in Abuja. This isn't just about land, it is a critical look at the clash between civil authority and military power, raising serious questions about governance and accountability. Stay with us as we unpack the full story and explore the implications of this dramatic face-off. Sit back and take a watch.
We have in our studios this morning Mr. Lere Olayinka, who is the Senior Special Assistant, Publicity and Communications, the FCT Minister, who was also there on the trip with the Minister yesterday to give us an account of what transpired. How did we get to that story past yesterday, Mr. Olayinka? Good morning.
Good morning, You see, we got to that story past yesterday because of the way we operate in this country. No, zero attitude to compliance. That is what we are, and it is painful. I saw the military, the army officer yesterday telling us that he was acting on an order, and I've also read online that a military man should obey the last order and order. And I've asked myself, which order? Like the minister also asked yesterday, you obey order, yes. But that order has to be lawful. The order has to be reasonable. For instance, if I am a military officer and my superior give me an order to go and shoot somebody, or let's say my boss give me an order to go and let me use this last, sorry for using this word, rape my daughter, will I obey the order because the order is coming from my superior? Or somebody, because somebody is dragging a girlfriend with my superior, and that superior now see the person dragging girlfriend with him walking on the street, and he say, hey, shoot this person. Because it is an order, I should obey it. Because it is an order, a military men should go and mount guard in a public building under construction. That is the issue here. Building under construction. Military men had to be sent to go and mount guard. Military men that was posted to the former chief of naval staff, Vice Admiral Awab Gambo, as his personal security details to secure him, to guard him, to protect him. He now chooses to make himself vulnerable and send those people on an errand. It's like somebody now here. I have security details to protect me here, and I now choose to send them to Gwagwalada to go and be protecting my property that is under construction. I don't seem to get it. Now let's go back to how we got to that level. That particular land was allocated to a company in 2007, Santos Estate Limited, for park and recreation. Let me say this again. Allocated in 2007 for park and recreation. The company did not do anything on the land because that place is a parkway, it's a walkway, it's a road corridor. You don't build there. Then in 2022, the company wrote to the FCTA, the minister, oh, I want approval from you to convert the purpose to commercial. From park to build park. You know what park is and recreation, not permanent structures. Probably in anticipation of the minister's approval for conversion, the man decided to partition the land, a land allocated to him for park and recreation. He now partitioned the land and sold to people, including the former chief of naval staff. And that is why I want to say here that the former chief of naval staff was scammed. He was scammed. And he has realized that he was scammed. Instead of him to now come out and seek help, he resorted to use military might. Now, in 2022, the minister of FCT declined that request, did not grant the request for for change of land use made by that company. That was where it ended. But he had already sold the land to people, probably giving them impression that the land use will change. Wike was not the minister then.
In 2022,
2022, Wike was not the minister. Now, after selling land allocated to you for park and recreation, for people to build house, who should the former chief of Naval Staff go and hold? The person who's coming or the government? He chose not to hold the person who scammed him, the company who scammed him. Now again, that particular portion has now been redesignated for the purpose of, if you know Abuja very well, you know how Babushi is. That is where you have Ministry of Works, Environment. That portion of the land, that parkway, is for public buildings and corporate buildings, not residential.
Okay.
Meaning that you cannot build residential house there. That is one. So as of today, Vice Admiral Gambo does not have a document, a title document, showing that he owns the land. He does not own the land. Now, assuming we're not considering that he has title documents and he owns the land, before you begin development of a land, there are processes you must pass through. One of such processes is to have a building plan. Building plan showing what you want to put on the land. And you take your building plan to the development control. See, you take your building plan to development control. The question Nigerians should ask Vice Admiral Gambo is, did he take his building plan on that land to development control, and the development control approve the building plan? So this is the letter with which the land was allocated to Santos Estate in 2007 for park. If you zoom your camera, you see that it is for park and recreation. This is the layout on the land. It is clearly stated. See, proposed parkway. You can look at it.
All right.
This is the letter. You can look at it.
Okay, so the thing for a lot of people is that whilst, the FCTA might or does have jurisdiction over that portion of land, I think for a number of people, it is how they have gone about enforcing the right of the FCTA to what it is that they have said. Let
me also go for that.
Okay.
The director of development, the director of the Department of Development Control, Pamplana Mukhtar Galadima, went to the place by himself and informed them that this land is like this Yoga. He told this particular mayor officer yesterday that was misbehaving yesterday that it appears that Yoga has been scammed. Though, tell Yoga to go and see minister so that they can see how to resolve this issue, because this land that he has bought, he bought a wrong land. He sent SMS messages to this particular officer, no response. Then officials of the Department of the Development Control went to the place to serve him letter to stop work. They did not allow them to get to the land. The military men stopped them. When they went there 2 days ago, they threatened that if they get close to the land, they will be shot. That was what happened. And the director came yesterday to report back to the minister. I mean, normally when you send somebody on an assignment, there must be a report. He came back and he told the minister, where we went to, this and this and this happened. And the minister was like, what an effrontery. So the minister now said, okay, maybe these people that are even coming to give me report, because in most cases you see government officials sitting in their offices, getting reports and acting on them. But the minister chose not to do that. He said, okay, maybe these people are even lying to me, they are not telling me the truth. Let me go there and see the place by myself.
Okay.
That was what the minister went there to do yesterday for an on-the-spot assessment. He went there with the commissioner of police, FCT commissioner of police. Policemen that came with the FCT commissioner of police were there. The ones that came with the minister were there. Before we got there, they have already used a vehicle, a logs, to block the road. That road does not lead to that land alone. It leads to other land. But they block the road. They block the road that nobody will be allowed to get to. What an effrontery. Land that does not belong to the man. And I feel so it is appalling that somebody of the level of the status of a former chief of naval staff who's supposed to be like a moral compass for the society choose to act like that. Because the question is, you say he must obey order.
So clearly,
is it the right?
Just a moment,
yes.
Mr. Olayinka. So it clearly, from the get-go, you could see that things could degenerate, given the fact that, the road festival was blocked. Now, there are those who say that, at that point is when the minister should have chosen to act through an institution and perhaps had turned back.
Through an institution?
Yes.
2 weeks ago, the director of security of the FCT wrote to the defense headquarters. He wrote a letter to the defense on this matter 2 weeks ago.
And the defense headquarters?
No response up to now. The informal response he got was that since the man is no longer in service, his matter cannot be handled by the defense headquarters. So when people say that no step was taken, yesterday the minister called the chief of defense staff before he left his office. He called him and he told him, when he got to that place, the portion there, at the side, the minister also called the chief of defense staff. You see from the video that he gave his phone to that unruly officer.
You call him unruly?
Yes,
but
I'm coming because he was unruly. He gave the phone to him. See, as I'm here like this, I'm a Yoruba person. I'm from Ekiti. We respect authority, we respect elder. If my phone ring now and the person calling say good evening, good morning, my name is Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, you think I'll be sitting on this chair answering that call? I won't. I will stand up.
Yeah, but that is you.
But, yes.
That is your cultural...
The minister gave him phone to talk to the CDS. And I saw the way there was no sign that this person was even talking to the CDS. He was normal. Talking to this chief of defense staff. And I saw arrogance. Yesterday, that person, that fellow, that officer was referring to policemen, fellow uniform men, as bloody policemen. You can't talk to me like that. I am a commissioned officer. You can't talk to me. I am a commissioned officer. You bloody policemen. And the policemen also got angry. How can you, a uniform man, be ridiculing your fellow uniform people?
I'll just say, to our viewers, because we were unable to show the full length of the video owing to time, and also some things that were said there, we're not allowed to play them according to NBC codes. Let us drill down on that, because clearly, when you watch the full length of the video, the minister lost his temper at some point, and he called the officer a name that he ought not to have called the officer.
Anybody, any human being, even me, I lost my temper. See, if you were there yesterday, you will lose your temper. We are in this country. You see, one of the things that our military men should begin to understand is that we are no longer under another military rule. Military is subjected to civil authorities, civil laws. You cannot, because you are a military officer, I go about, you see building, they will put military zone, keep off. It is wrong. So what I'm saying is this.
So you justify what was.
Wait, the minister tried to calm people. If you listen very well,
Yeah.
the policemen or the civil defense also got angry. They were reacting. The DSS, the DSS, one of the security details of the minister, DSS officer, one of the soldiers was standing in front of the minister holding gun, and the DSS one had to tell him, how can you stand before the minister and you are pointing gun at him? You want to shoot him? And they were like, that is where that is I have to stand here. It will get to a level. We are all human beings. It will get to a level when somebody that you feel that should reason, that should operate, you have a level of moral, or you have a level of moral, but you don't begin to act like that. I was there. As a human being, I also got pissed off, and I asked myself, is this the kind of country we want to continue to run? That because you are wearing uniform, you are now above everybody. Because you are wearing uniform, you cannot turn yourself to security guard and be guarding private property buildings under construction, and you are telling us that you are obeying law, you are obeying order. Does that mean that if your guy is a poultry farmer, he can also send you to go and be guarding fowl?
Mr. Olayinka, I'm going to read, because since yesterday there have been quite a number of reactions to what transpired yesterday, rightly or wrongly. I'm going to read that of the former Minister of Aviation, Osita Chidoka. He wrote that Minister Nyesom Wike's decision to personally enforce the directive at a disputed site was a fundamental misstep. In constitutional democracies, power operates through institutions, not impulse. Executive authority must be exercised or adjudicated through the courts, ministries, and lawful instruments of state, never through confrontation. No matter how justified a grievance, a minister cannot become an enforcer that violates the very idea of ordered government. This is one of the reactions, and he was a minister. I do not know if you agree with it. But we've also seen the reaction of the former Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, who also thinks that this is a security breach. I'm going to read what it is that he also said. I do not know whether you've seen some of these reactions. He said that the minister's conduct during the exchange transcends mere misconduct and undermines the authority of the Commander-in-Chief and the integrity of the armed forces. These are some of the things that they're now beginning to say, because they believe that the minister ought to have recognized that he is the commissioned officer in uniform, and maybe at that point ought to have withdrawn. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, let me first of all react to the statement by the former Chief of Army Staff, Tukur Buratai. See, when I read that statement coming from him, I was like,
oh, you've seen it?
I've read it. I read it. I saw it yesterday. And I was like, the former Chief of Army Staff is not concerned about talking to a uniformed man. He's not concerned about somebody, uniformed military men, who should be at the war front, number officer, who should be at the Chad basin, confronting terrorists, being converted to private guards, guarding uncompleted buildings. Which one is a security threat to Nigeria? Between soldiers trained to defend Nigeria, now being converted to security guard, let me use the word, may guard.
That's very disrespectful of our military, Mr. Olayinka. And we do know that military men also safeguard property.
That's exactly what they went to do. Uncompleted building. You see, you can safeguard property. You don't, where people are living there, no property under construction. You are protecting property under construction. Instead of you to be in Bono,
They
fighting insurgents.
They can protect property under construction.
And a former chief of
some people will say they can defend that. I mean, they can protect that if it is within their jurisdiction to do so.
You can protect property if it poses security threat to Nigerians. It does. That property, what security threat does it pose to you and I? It doesn't pose any security threat. And a former chief of army staff is more concerned about a military officer who went to do unlawful duty, because all others are not lawful.
All right, let's take let me let my colleague come in now. We'll extend this matter for a few more minutes. Ayo.
Thank you, Mokwe, and maybe by that time we'll be bringing in our other guests. But I've also seen a comment coming from retired Group Captain Sadiq Shehu, who says in part that this recent standoff between a minister and a junior military officer reveals how fragile civil military etiquette becomes when emotion replaces protocol. Well, this speaks to what you said the other time, Mr. Olayinka, that anyone could get upset, anyone would lose their temper. While it is the right of every one of us to lose our temper, it is also, could have been the right of the military officer himself to also lose his temper. And, you know, what can you say to the part where this group captain says emotion seems to have breached protocol?
Well, like you said, two officers, a minister who has the right to all lands in the FCT, and a military officer who was assigned to protect a private property. Illegal operation. That is what it's called. In this country, we know that FCT land is vested in the president.
Stand all of that. Just a second, Mr. Olayinka. It's not the substance of the issue really here, because what is attracting attention is not the substance, it's the how. And you didn't answer that question when Mawakwe asked that this is not. Just a second. It's not a question of whether or not the ministry was right. I mean, you have detailed all of that. He is absolutely correct. However, it is the how. Because if the minister, and rightly so, was representing the president of the Federal Republic and commander-in-chief, he doesn't carry the authority of the president and commander-in-chief at that point. So I'm wondering if you think the how justified his action there.
What I've said to you here is, one, the minister went to that place for an on-the-spot assessment. The road was blocked. He had to trek to the place. He was addressing a junior military officer. And the junior military officer chose to disrespect everybody, including the other police, other security agents that were.
But he made a statement, Mr. Olayinka. Just a second. He made a statement. He said, I am following orders. Just a second, Mr. Olayinka. It is something you also know. You're in the media like us. He said, I am a military officer. I am following orders. Based on that alone, I mean, it shouldn't have been understood. I know that it is possible for, the FCT minister to pick a phone and call the fellow in question. I mean, you already said it, that this is not a new case. Something that has been on for a while. I'm pretty sure that the name of the purported owner of this land would be known to the minister, and he could easily have reached him. Some people are wondering whether or not this couldn't have been handled better than it was.
But I also mentioned here that even at the spot, the minister called the chief of defense staff. I also mentioned here the way, the attitude, the way the officer responded to the chief of defense staff. I have also said there that even at the spot, the minister called the chief of naval staff. Before going to the place, he called the chief of defense staff. You see, I have said it here that You mentioned emotion, and I've said we are all human beings. If you were there yesterday, you will also get angry. Even me, that I was not the minister, I got pissed off. I got pissed off, and I got pissed off not because of not against the military officer, but pissed off about what kind of system is this?
Okay.
What kind of system will we allow a former chief of naval staff to deploy his security details to carry out illegal duties?
Okay. Well, there are other issues, as Markwe has mentioned, and just before we take that, there was something that Markwe called for earlier, a post on the Instagram page of the Defense Headquarters, and, well, some might call it whether it is cryptic or not, but if we can take a look at that post right now, Femi, that this is what, the Defense Headquarters has put on, just before we segue into that conversation. And the post of the military was really simple, and they were saying something, very, very simple, unbroken, unshaken. It's an honor, the post says, to serve in the military, in the Nigerian military. Unshaken, unbent, unbroken.
Okay.
That's all the post says, and I hope that we'll be able to see it all. That's it right there on your screen. It is an honor to serve in the Nigerian military, unshaken, unbent, unbroken. Whether this has anything to do with the conversation we've been having or not, I guess we'll see in good time.
What a segment. The footage and the details shared by Lere Olayinka, the Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister, paint a vivid picture of institutional breakdown and a blatant disregard for due process. Let us dig deeper into my critical take on this issue. First, the core of this dispute, as Mr. Olayinka rightly points out, originates from a questionable land allocation back in 2007. The land originally designated for park and recreation to Santos Estate Limited was allegedly converted and sold for commercial and residential purposes without the proper legal approvals. This isn't merely procedural error. It highlights a systematic problem within our land administration, where public resources can be repurposed or privatized through opaque means, often leading to such conflicts. The FCT minister, at the time in 2022, reportedly declined the conversion request, yet development continued. This raises serious questions about who exactly benefits from such irregularities and why the rules are often ignored until a direct confrontation becomes unavoidable. Secondly, the deployment of military personnel to guard a private property, especially one under disputed ownership and land use, is profoundly troubling. In a constitutional democracy like ours, the military is subordinate to civilian authority, and their primary role is national defense and not security, not enforcing private property claims. Mr. Olayinka's analogy of being ordered to commit a crime emphasizes the need for others to be lawful. So, using military might to block FCT officials from carrying out their duties, which included serving a stop work order, is an escalation that undermines the rule of law and can incite civil unrest. It creates a dangerous precedent where individuals can use uniformed personnel to bypass legal processes, fostering a culture of impunity. So, furthermore, the revelation that a former chief of naval staff, Vice Admiral Awal Gambo, was reportedly among those who acquired parts of this disputed land and allegedly lacked a proper title document adds another layer of complexities and concern. So while Mr. Lere Olayinka suggests he might have been scammed, the fact remains that a high-ranking military official was involved in a questionable land deal and was seemingly relying on military protection for a private development. This points to a deeper issue of civil-military relations and the potential misuses of military resources and prestige for personal gain. It blurs the line between public service and private enterprise in a way that is detrimental to public trust. Mr. Olayinka's description of the military officers' unruly behavior and disrespect towards civilian authority, or rather officials, even during a phone call with the Chief of Defense Staff, speaks volumes about the perceived superiority some military personnel hold over civilian authorities. The idea that a junior officer could disregard The presence of a minister who represents the president's authority in the FCT is a stark reminder of the challenges in entrenching democratic values and respect for institutions. So, the minister's subsequent loss of temper, though human, is also a reflection of the frustration stemming from a lack of institutional response and respect. In a truly ordered society, such matter should be handled through legal channels, not through heated confrontations and emotional outbursts from either side. Ultimately, this incident is a stark warning. It underscores the fragility of our civil-military relations when due process is sidelined. It highlights the urgent need for transparency and strict adherence to land allocation policies, ensuring that public land is used for public good and that all citizens, regardless of status, are subject to the same laws. Without this foundational principle, incidents like this will continue to erode the very fabric of our democratic governance. This ongoing dispute between Minister Wike and the military is far more than just a local land issue. It is a litmus test for our commitment to the rule of law and the sanctity of our institutions. The reaction from the former minister and the retired military personnel who condemned the use of military force in civil matter echoes a sentiment or the sentiment that emotions must never replace protocol. We must demand accountability from all parties involved and work towards a system where the law is supreme and institutions functions effectively without intimidation. That's all for now on Oba's Trending Gist. What are your thoughts on this situation? Share your comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Oba's Trending Gist for more in-depth analysis and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. See you next time.